You are watching Shaw Arts and Entertainment. I am your host, Curtis Anderson. We're at the beautiful Ralco building today, and I'm joined by Craig The Movie Geek. It is Friday the 13th, Craig.
Yeah!
Yeah, exactly. That's a reaction most people should have. I don't know how many people here in the city, reflect upon the fact that it is Friday the 13th, but I'm starting right now saying we should start a movement that, it should be a big deal. It should be like a New Year's Eve kind of atmosphere. Every time Friday the 13th comes around, it should be celebrated.
I know you would like that, hence the T-shirt there.
Yeah, the jersey. It's actually, I think, part of a Halloween costume. But anyways, let's jump right into it. I have right here a copy of the legendary, the iconic 1980 Friday the 13th, where it all began, where this whole crazy ride called Friday the 13th started back in 1980. Where do you sit on the opinion of this movie, Craig? Are you one of those people that just like, unless it's nominated for an Oscar, you don't want anything to do with it, or are you capable of crawling on your belly watching this movie?
I can crawl on my belly in the gutter with you and watch this movie. No, I mean I obviously was right around the age of the time, like growing up on these movies. So we used to watch them at sleepovers and all the time when I was in elementary school and stuff like that. Hilariously enough, it actually is pretty well known for being one of the first slasher movies.
Yep.
It was actually it's more of a ripoff of Halloween, actually, because Halloween was the first one, and then they sort of wanted to capitalize on that and did this. However, even though it is usually critically lambasted, it is one of the considered one of the most successful franchises of all time.
Definitely.
Not only with how many movies they made and how much box office money they made, but there's been everything from a television series to comic books and merchandising and all that kind of thing.
Did you follow it through the many sequels? Because it got good. It got a little bad again, and then it just got really weird. Like, all of a sudden, he was in space. Did you follow it? They're on, what, like 12 or 13 now by the time you have the Jason versus Freddy and all that?
I think there's 12 altogether now, but I probably fell off somewhere in the middle there. Like, I watched probably the first 5 or 6 of them, and then probably fell off after that. But I do remember coming back on board when not only when Jason went to space, but he also fought Freddy, which was quite the mashup.
Looking back at the careers it launched, Kevin Bacon. You can look back at all these early 80s, late 70s horror movies and see that it launched careers. Like, is that kind of the fun part?
I think that's definitely part of the fun of watching a lot of that stuff. I mean, guys like Johnny Depp or Kevin Bacon that are in a lot of these movies. The Coreys, yeah, before they were big. I definitely think that's fun. I wouldn't even remember that half of them are in it until you actually go back and watch it and go, hey, that's Kevin Bacon.
I was very excited to go through the Shaw Video on Demand today to see if they were running some sort of, Friday the 13th marathon, and they're not. But that's okay, because there's still plenty of good stuff on there. In the spirit of Friday the 13th, though, don't just go for a classic like The Exorcist. Find something that has many sequels, like I saw Boogeyman's on there. You can power watch Boogeyman 1, 2, and 3 tonight. And that's the fun part about sequels, is watching them get progressively worse. If Friday the 13th and its 12 sequels aren't available for you tonight, what are you going to be watching?
Well, I guess you could go with the other sort of big franchise, the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, and of course they, as we mentioned, intersect at Freddy versus Jason or whatever. So I mean, that one actually too, I think the earlier movies especially, like Nightmare on Elm Street actually did get some critical praise, and it is kind of a freaky movie and a great idea when you go back to it.
All right, there it is. It's Friday the 13th tonight. Do yourself a favor, stay home. Shaw on Demand, a bunch of progressively worse horror movies. Again, go with the Boogeyman. Boogeyman 1, not bad. Then it gets worse. It's kind of like the Friday the 13th franchise. And I expect Boogeyman to just take that corner any day and start making 5-star movies again once they get up to about 6, 7, 8. It's going to be good times. Hanging out today with Craig the Movie Geek has made me very generous. So here it is. First caller, 665-3737. I'll give you one of my many copies of Friday the 13th on DVD, especially if you love the 80s. It's yours, 665-3737. Call in. First caller. Come to Shaw and pick it up. There it is. Bam. Thanks, Craig.
Cheers.
But you can't call.
Do you have a bunch of copies at home that are like unopened? You just bought a bunch?
I did.
I bet you would.
I bought a warehouse.
You would.
I try never to watch the same DVD twice. I'm kind of OCD that way. It's like once it's open, that's it. I throw it out.
Fair enough.
They're better fresh. Craig the Movie Geek. Friday the 13th.